Hello and welcome. My name is Maxim, and this is introductory video for the how to build a cross-platform mobile application in React Native. And in this tutorial, we're going to be building an application called Mixup, which is going to be quite a simple application. We're going to make multiple playlists, and what Mixup does, it takes a random song from each playlist and creates playlists based like a new playlist based on the other playlist that we gave it. That's why it's called Mixup, because it's mixing different things. So in this tutorial, we're going to look at React Native as a technology. And if you know React, getting familiar with React Native is pretty easy. We're going to look through, we're going to have at least 5 sessions. So in the first session, I'm going to show you how to set up all the environment. And starting from using React Native and how do we set up the Android and iOS simulators and all this jazz, so you can actually develop things on your machine. In session 2, we're going to look at the actual logic for this application. So we're not going to do any React at this stage. It's just going to be plain JavaScript on figuring out how do we launch the application, and then how do we play random music from playlist specified in Subway, where we'll see how we will specify them exactly. In session 3, we're going to add Redux to the mix, which is a very popular state management library, which will help us connect the user intentions, so whatever user wants to do, like play music, to the actual action inside our business logic. And in session 4, we're going to add the actual user interface for this. In session 5, we're going to add more user interface to actually store the information, so that when user, for example, restarts the application, they don't lose the mix playlist. In session 6, we'll see how we go with timing, but if we have enough time, we will look at things like how do you deploy this application to the App Store, and how do you publish it with the exponent using the Expo app, so you don't need to even have account with Apple or Android to do that, but that's mostly for testing. So we'll look at those as an extra things. Cool. So jump into the stream and watch the rest of it. And if you have any questions, you can always find me on Didn't Work online video. So I'm gonna record it just in case something goes off. It will slow down my computer quite a lot, but whatever. So I have mentioned that I'm going to be using Create React Native, but actually I thought Create React Native is really simple to use. So if you go to Facebook React Native, and if you're not familiar with React Native, it's this framework which Facebook built for cross-platform mobile applications with JavaScript and React. And it's not the same as doing something like Cordova. So there's Cordova, there is Ionic, and all these other cross-platform frameworks. The biggest difference between the Cordova thing and the Ionic, which is practically based on, let's say, native progressive web apps now. Biggest difference is that this used to be not native. I think they're changing this now, but it used to be some kind of like a thing which runs your, so they would design components and they look like native, they're potentially native, but they're actually not native. And you see this user experience when you start doing transitioning between the screens. It's very easy to spot that, oh, doesn't feel like iOS, it doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like Android, it just feels somewhere weird in between. The big difference with React Native is that they actually translate everything that you write here into native elements. So as you can see, it's not a mobile web, it's not a HTML5 app, and it's not a hybrid app. It's actual native application. They translate all your code into Objective-C or Swift or Java, whatever one, and then they you write your logic in JavaScript, and they execute the logic in JavaScript and proxy it to the needed APIs, but all the UI is translated to native, so it's very nice native look and feel. There is some performance issues which come doing this approach, of course, because you are having a translation layer. But translation does not happen during the runtime. It actually happens during compilation. So that's like a big difference. The way that you run it in the development is actually very different to the way that you will run it in production. And so if you just click get started here, they have a very easy quick start with the create React Native app. Like that's it. Practically you're starting here, you just install create React Native app and then you choose your project name and you're doing the stuff. And I have used this one, and it does work. It's all fully JavaScript. You don't see any native stuff. The native stuff doesn't even appear there. It looks very magical because it's usually running in JavaScript code on your iOS simulator. It looks quite cool, but at the same time, I find it too simple. So I wanted to show an approach which is a bit more sophisticated than this building project is native code. So you can use create React Native app. This one, so you just install it, and then you can eject from it, as they call it. So you just do create React Native app eject, and it will create something like this for you. But I wanted to show with the actual React Native CLI. So I'm using Mac. iOS setup on Mac is really easy. You need to install list of things. So I have them installed already. I'm not gonna show you the progress bars because this is just looking at progress bars. Then you install this thing. So I actually have I have a gist. I think it was in my Safari. I have a gist which has where is this one? So I'm gonna post it. Oops. I'm gonna add this gist to the to our first session, so you can follow along if you want. Here we go. So this is our gist of what I'm not sure how to actually I guess like this. Is this the link? Presume this is the link. Okay. It's really weird markdown I used right here. Yeah, nope, that didn't work. But this link, this gist, has all the instructions, the same instructions is there. The only difference, I use Yarn. Yarn is like an alternative to NPM, which I find faster and better offline support, and especially around locking when you like don't want to accidentally update, which was a common thing with Node at some point. You like updating one package, it updates its dependencies, and then it just breaks without you realizing like what the heck just happened, and then you try to roll back and it doesn't roll back anymore because it's updated the dependency version and it just goes into this like version hell. So Yarn is better manages this stuff. That's why I use it, and it's just different command here. I did download all of this because this freaking Android Studio takes about, where was it? I downloaded it yesterday, so this is about a gigabyte by itself. And then you need to install Android SDK, the performance intel, and so when you download the Android Studio, you install it and then it will open and it will ask you like, hey, do you want to standardization or custom? So you just choose custom and you choose those things, which is exactly what Facebook tell you. Facebook one. So if you choose the Android one. So we'll go through Android one because it's more complicated. And after that, you still, so I'm going to launch Android Studio so you can see it. And my Restream chat seriously doesn't want to work, so I'm just going to occasionally look at this chat. There is a way to make this chat, here we go. Put it somewhere on the side. Yep, the stream is not restreaming today. Okay, so Android Studio is really slow. Like first time you're gonna hang, so you can install SDK. They tell you to configure ADV, which I'm gonna do, like I have configured one already. One thing that you need to keep in mind that, so let's say you have launched the Android Studio, it will have this welcome screen, which I'm not sure how to get to again. Maybe if I close the project, it will give me the welcome. Yeah, so it gives you this welcome screen. You won't have this try on the side, and then you can go to settings, which is this configure button, SDK manager, and here you need to find an SDK number 6, the Marshmallow, and then you need to go inside and get this Google API, Android SDK, and all that stuff. And it's all described here, and it's also duplicated in my thing here. What do you need to install? It kind of didn't work the markdown there. Let me quickly fix it. I think I need to have like thing here. Nope. Okay. It might be because I have like this is another level, and I'm not entirely sure that I need like this or like this. My gun is always like, guess why did you forget the new line? I cannot guess apparently. I keep not getting right one because this works, this one, and this one doesn't work for some reason. I do not know why, so I'm just going to leave it like this. Yeah, so after you install all of this, which is about 2 gigabytes in total, it's a crazy amount of things that you need to download. Ooh, go back to red. Okay. After you install all of this, you need to put this in your shell. So I use that shell. If you use bashrc, you need to put it in the bash profile. So you just chunk this here. I also put it in my bash profile, so you can see an example of this. Yeah, so I just put this here in case if I use bash. This will configure the Android to actually work properly. And then we can just create a, so I'm going to create live EDU. And so this is our first session, so I'm just going to call it. Oh, yeah, so after you do this, you're going to have this React Native CLI. You're going to get React Native help. So this React Native command line that should be installed, and then it's working. And what you do is you just say init, and let's call it session 1. And so this name, you need to be careful with. I spent about an hour trying to figure out yesterday what was wrong with my name. If you use a name which is a keyword in Java, like I used try, which was bad naming, but I was just trying to test something. And when I use that name, Java will fail. So it will create a new project and it won't work. Like Java won't be able to compile your project. And it's because you use the reserved keyword, so you need to be careful with this name. And better not to put any space or anything here. Again, I'm not sure how Java will like it or not. So when you do React Native init, it will create the folder for you. So you need, as you can see, it's creating a new folder inside the folder I am. Automatically, so you don't need to create a folder for a project. And then it will do all this installation of NPM packages primarily and create the whole structure for you. So that's not very interesting. In the wrong browser. Here we go. Okay. So after this is done, which is eventually going to happen, so they had a bunch of stuff, including React, and they automatically detect if you have Yarn, they use Yarn. So you see minus of Yarn. If you have NPM, it works as an NPM fine too. I do recommend to check Yarn out because it doesn't make any big differences, but it makes the experience way faster. So after it's installed, it creates this folder session 1, which we can go to, and I'm going to open it in the Finder just to show you some structure there. So inside we have this Android folder, this is full-blown Android application right here, built for you already, which is connected to this JavaScript part. So this JavaScript part of the application, which is in the root, and then there is separate iOS and Android parts, and not much of the still JavaScript parts. Um, so this is practically your initial commit. Like I usually would just take this because they don't create a Git, they don't do Git init for you. So I would just do Git init. And one thing to be careful here is they do create node modules that you cannot see. Oh, Git ignore, sorry. Git ignore that you cannot see. See, they like do a bunch of stuff, which is really nice. So they have pre-cooked stuff here when you're doing builds on iOS and Android. You don't want to commit all that crap. So what we can do is we can just make it initial commit. So we have some kind of milestone saved. Okay, so now let me just open and show it to you in Android Studio. So in this monster, I'm calling it monster because it's really small. So if I go to live.du, I go to session 1, and here you want to choose the Android folder, and that's it. Like this whole folder is your Android Studio project. So after that, you meditate because it takes like 3 minutes at least to open. Just sit here and look at it. And first time I did open it, it did give me an error. It was like, oh, you need to install something extra. So it was another 300 megabytes to download. So Android is really pain in the ass to set up because you need to download JSDK, multiple like all of these dependencies, and they're really big. It's probably as slow on iOS if you're doing it the first time. It's like no, don't ask me again. It will ask you to update because this is not the latest version. It will sometimes give you like this little like, oh, yeah, update to the latest version. Do not update because React Native will not work with it. React Native is tested against a specific SDK, so if you update and it doesn't work anymore, it will be on your own. So after this thing finishes whatever the heck it's doing, you can actually run it from here, which I've never tried. But the first thing you need to do is you need to, and that's after you created the project, you need to go to ADV Manager. And let me just remove this one, which I created last time. Yes. Okay. And so we need to create the virtual device. So you can choose whichever device you want here, whichever works. I think I'm gonna go with this one. It seems nice, a nice size. So instead of recommended image, you need to choose 86 images and choose the Marshmallow one with the Google APIs. So that's an important aspect because if you're using something else, your app might not work on it. It will work when you're using. It should work on all the latest SDKs, but actually, it would be a good question to test it on the latest one. So let's try to use this one, and then let's try to use the other one, which is the latest version, I think. So this is Nexus 6 API number 23. I guess the difference is this is actually a simulator, so it's like emulator, though you call it. I did press finish, so it's just thinking about life. With Android, you need to launch your emulator manually. So it doesn't automatically launch. It gives you some weird stuff. And it loads for half an hour. And I don't even know how to move this guy, to be honest. I feel weird when I'm like, how do I move this guy? Okay, that looks really weird. Yeah, it kind of gets stuck here. Because I'm trying to move it and it doesn't move. Boom, boom, boom. So Android loads very slow. But you need to load a emulator and have it ready before you can do anything else. So after that, what we can do is we can just run React Native, and I think we actually have some commands to do this. Let's see. No, we don't. Actually, we don't. Yeah, so we just do React Native run Android. Man, I should know have not used Nexus 6. It seems to be very slow. It gave me this really weird warning, so I'm just gonna shut it, kill it, and wipe it out, and do Nexus 5X. The same device. I hopefully they just using the good device for my machine. Where's my marshmallow? Okay, marshmallow image. Again, I press finish and it's just thinking. Okay, so now I should be able to watch, because this one is, again, it's giving me this error. That's pretty weird. I'm just going to check the chat. Okay, so yeah, Android will load for a while. While this is loading, I will explain to you a bit of iOS. So iOS set up AP on Mac, and obviously because you're on Mac, that's why it's easier. You install, do the same Watchman and Node, then you install React Native CLI. You download the Xcode, and then in Xcode, you can actually use Candle or command line tools separately, but I'd recommend that you have Xcode installed too, because you won't be able to otherwise open any project. You might be able to compile them, however. So here we need to go to locations and find the Xcode 69.3. So it's command line tools. If it's not selected here, you need to select it and let us install it. And then the components, usually it installs one of the simulators. So here you can use any simulator. It actually controls when you run, while this Android stuff is still thinking about life, I'm going to run iOS. And what it's going to do is going to take your project. It's going to run this thing called, oh yeah, it's getting significantly slower because I'm streaming now. Okay, here we go. Ooh, I can drag it if I take the top part. Okay. So this is our Android. So let me just stop. I'm gonna run the Android thing, and it's eventually gonna start compiling everything. So you see, it launched this thing separately in the terminal. Metro bundler thing, as we call it. This is actually the thing which takes your JavaScript code and pushes it into your native app. So this thing is common between iOS and Android. You actually need to run only one of it. It will run for you automatically. You can reconfigure it. You can, as you see, they say you can run your own Metro instance if you want. I usually leave it running like this in the beginning until you want to go really advanced with it. So for Android, it's same for iOS. It will do actual builds. So we should be able to do exactly the same build from Android Studio, but I just want to show you the way that you do it via the command line. And if you're using NPM, for example, you can run it directly from your VS Code or Atom eventually. And as you can see, this has a lot of stuff like debug and stuff like this, debug. It is way smaller size when it actually compiles the proper version to production. But because we are building it to development, it's a bit bigger and takes longer. So then it builds the actual APK, same as you would build a normal Android app, and it installs it on the device. And as you can see, the device automatically loaded the app. And so when it does this loading up, you might notice that the packager starts doing something. Now this packager is loading up. So now packager takes the JavaScript and it actually bundles it, as they call it. So it's similar to the way Webpack works. It creates one gigantic JavaScript and it transpiles everything to a specific version of JavaScript which works on this version of the device. And when this progress bar, I was trying to not make it about progress bar, but okay. So we finally get this thing, which is not really exciting, but this is actual React Native app running on Android. And if I go back to the menu, you can see that here, okay, you can tell I'm not an Android user, right? No. Pressing the wrong buttons. But if here, last time it was showing the app here. What's going on Android? Maybe if I search here, session. Oh yeah, here we go. So it's hidden somewhere. I don't know how it's sorted. Maybe by. So it's the actual Android app. It's not when you use Create React Native, you need a special client. So you need like a thing called Expo. And I can actually show this example with Expo. Let me just show you this one and iOS first. So you don't need to have it running because you see the build successful after it's installed, unless you're updating some native dependencies. You're doing like React Native link and you're adding some native code. You don't need to rebuild it. And if we want to modify something, I'm going to open my VS Code. And it will eventually load. Okay, so let's say, as you can see, they give you different instructions depending on which platform you are in, and they have this new thing. It wasn't there in the beginning, called Platform Select. So you can give different views depending on the platform. So let's say most of your stuff is the same, but maybe actually I'm wondering, can we do Platform Select for the styles? But here they're giving you examples with the view itself. So for iOS, they're gonna say this is one instruction. For Android, they're gonna give you different instructions because this is different instructions. Here you do like RR to reload, and the shake is kind of tricky one. It's actually, I forgot to start the Keycaster. I just realized, whoa, catastrophic error with Keycaster. Let me just fix the. Yeah, what's up with Keycaster? Okay. My Keycaster doesn't work, but the shortcut here, which they don't tell you, is actually Command plus M and to shake. So if I go back to my emulator, you see nothing changed. So if I press RR, it actually will tell me Command M now, and if I press Command M, it will give me this menu, which is how you get to dev menu. One of the trickiest things to figure out yourself. And that works on Mac. On Windows, you might need to figure out different shortcuts. Same kind of works for iOS. So if we actually can run them at the same time, which is pretty cool, I think. And the only thing it needs to do is it needs to build first one, and then it will use the same packages. It will detect that you have one packager running already. And it's interesting, this Delta thing is actually not sending the whole thing here. So one of the things we can do is we can enable live reload, which is the first step. And the live reload will allow us to make it a bit, just so we can see at the same time. So this is a common thing, right? It's welcome to React Native. And if I modify this and I put like 3 dots here, and as soon as I save this file, this will reload automatically. Which is quite nice experience. You usually get this in the browser. There is a more advanced version of this, and for that, usually you need to disable iFlow first and then enable hot reloading, as they call it. And the hot reloading, so if I take these 3 dots and then I remove them and I press save, as you notice, it did switch without reloading the whole application. So it's way faster, especially when you're looking at one specific screen to do hot reloading. One caveat with hot reloading is eventually when it just close this other project. When it compiles the iOS one, and it will take a very long time to compile both of them in the beginning. Like 5 minutes is normal time. You just sit and wait there because it creates all these caches and things like this. So just checking with my streaming is fine because my OBS just gave me some weird error. Nope, still going, looks like. I'm recording just in case, so if it doesn't work, doesn't work. Yeah, eventually when all of this executes, it will launch the emulator automatically. So for iOS, you don't need to launch the simulator manually. So the caveat with hot reloading is that it will not work for two browsers at the same time. You can't have hot reloading for running emulator for Android and hot reloading running emulator for iOS. You need to choose which one does hot reloading. The other one can do live reloading. I do not know why, honestly. I guess some kind of weird thing, because live reloading does this thing where they replace stuff on the fly. So they set the delta only and they do model replacement. And I guess when they're doing it together at the same time, it kind of gets conflicted there. It will give you this error of like, oh, there are two instances of RTC view in iOS, for example, and it will give you something similar here. So one thing I wanted to check is actually, can we do something like this? Can we do platform select? And if it's iOS, I want it to be background. As you can see, my computer is getting really slow, kind of because I'm streaming, but also because I'm just going to say red here because I don't want to specify the whole thing. And for the Android, I want the blue. So my background color now is going to be not the specified value, but instead maybe it can use platform select. I have not tried this before, so we'll see. That would be interesting if we can. Oh, nice. So the blue is a bit intense. Light blue. So now we have Android running like this, and eventually iOS will be running too. Yeah, as you can see, the CPU goes crazy, a bit like 100%, actually crazy. And yeah, it's feeling, I believe, that it's going crazy there. The compilation of it will only be slow first time unless you're adding modules, and when you compile the second time, it will have a bunch of caches saved, so it won't go as slow. It's OBS actually going crazy. It's not, but it's slowly ignoring my whole system, so we're done streaming. I wish I had like an ability to make it less crazy, because it says 36% here, but that's not entirely true, let's say. So one of the things I like to set up usually is a thing called storyboard, and I will show you while this is all loading. Storyboard.js.org, I believe. Well, I got the dot there. Oh, I'm just gonna search for like this. Check that questions. Okay, no questions. So storyboard is something which where's the official website? It was storyboard.js.org, so I'm not sure why it didn't actually work for me. They officially they don't have implementation for React Native, but if you look carefully through the guide, somewhere it's actually not here. It's inside the GitHub. You can find that they support React Native. They're kind of sneaky about it. I guess because support is kind of not very great, not as good as, yeah, so here we go, React Native here. What it allows you to do is, as you can see, there's like a simulator on the right side and Storybooks and Webhooks. So Storybooks is, you can create the components isolated completely from from the rest of the applications, which is how we often create our React components. And then just accept the props, so you can see how the component looks like with different props without necessarily going through multiple levels on your application, which is really useful when you're trying to not only test different states, but for example, you have an application where you need to log in and you need to create an account, and you need to like being able to, let's say you're doing to-do list even, right? So if you have sign up, you need to sign up, you need to create an account. When you need to log in, you need to get to the to-do list page. Then you need to enable some filters if you testing the filter functionality. With the Storybook, you can just test a specific list of to-dos and pass the filter function that you're developing and see how it behaves without going through all the login and stuff. So is this, oh my God, it's still going. I'm like, I won't be able to do anything else because it's actually killing my CPU right now quite intensely. So I can shut down the emulator for Android because this is the emulator for Android and it takes a lot of stuff. Not doing anything, but it just sits there and thinks about life. Maybe if I disable auto loading, it's not going to be as intense. Nope. Okay, so okay, yeah. So let's just say, really? This is 4-core machine, keep it in mind. So let's say it gets, yeah. And it goes crazy on all cores. Oh yeah, here we go, node. So node means that we are most likely getting to the completion. Okay, here we go. We actually finished that. So what it does now, you see, we have an iOS now bundle, and somewhere here there should be my, what is this? I don't see it. I don't see my iOS simulator. It launched somewhere, but not on the screen. So sometimes it happens. I would just launch simulator manually. Yeah, I think it was there, but we cannot see it. So as you can see, interestingly, they are different colors, and because of that platform select that I've done, so we can do small things like this. We can replace completely different views. So for Android, for iOS, for example, it makes sense to have like a thing at the bottom. Not all Android applications use it because in Android you have this menu button here, which I don't even know what it does. Yeah, that's a weird thing. But I guess applications can handle this menu thing or something. I'm not an Android user, so I don't really know how exactly what's the user guidelines there. But yeah, so this is allows us to do the small things, and you can actually see if I enable a live reload here, and I enable, where's my simulator? I do Control D and I enable hot reload here, and now I do them side by side. That's something you see often, right? An iOS and an Android device next to each other. And let's say I want to make this guy left aligned, so I just press left here, I save, and oh shit, yeah, left is not the valid value. It's flex start. Yeah, so when you make an error, it actually doesn't work anymore. So let's try it again. So let's say I change it back to be what just happened. I change it back to center or flex end, so that will push them to the bottom. In iOS, it will just push without reloading the whole screen, and Android it will reload. And you can do either way around. So that's basically the setup. You don't need to do anything else. And as you can see, the only thing we modified is the up thing here. When you do the build, it does save a bunch of cache, which I ignored by default. So keep in mind that when you start the new application, it will do all of this stuff again. So let's just quickly see if I can install the Storybook. So I have the Storybook CLI thing already here. I believe get Storybook. Gonna check the version that I have. Maybe I need to do npmg. So Storybook, I think, is a confusing one, which doesn't work with Yum. Okay, that does not help me because I don't know. Did I start on global list? Do I have Storybook? So I'm just gonna check. Do I have Storybook there in my global VDR? No, I have it in with npm. Storybook CLI. Yeah, it's just for some reason this should update a little bit. So magically get Storybook will just set up most of the stuff in Yelp automatically. The only thing is that the environment variables is one of the things that we need. Is it this one? I think. Nope. One of the interesting things is so we have this guy running, where is this? And we're kind of not in control of it at all, which is not really exciting. So if we do yarn run start, okay, let's just finish the storybook. So we have this guy now, and now we can say get storybook, and it will install like a ton of stuff. It will find that this says I think Storybook support for your React Native, so it will detect that you're using React Native, and it will do different things. I think if you are using Android and iOS, it will actually not do anything. It's only for create React Native. It does some weird stuff. Let's just double check when it finishes the installation eventually. I know it's progress bar. It's the setup time. One of the things I wanted to share for the setup is if using VS Code, there is a ton of these things that you can install for React specifically, and I use code snippets, so full React Native, and they have a lot of code snippets for React Native here. They also have React Native support inside your this. So I have never tried this. It seems like quite a lot of downloads here. You can debug apparently your React Native applications, which I have tried. It didn't work, so I guess I can try to install it again. Just give it a bit of time. One of the things I wanted to show you. Okay, so what it did actually nice. So it did everything. We don't need to do anything. So we can just do yarn run storybook, and supposedly it will just run. Because I remember with Create React Native, it's not that easy. You need to like go and modify some stuff and pass environment variables and stuff like this. Okay, so I think we need to shut down our Metro bundler, which will probably kill our Android. Yep. So let's see if this works. Okay, Metro bundler is ready. I think I need to open it manually, I'm pretty sure. Here we go. So I can open it, either of these guys. And this will be significantly slower because this is actually a lot more JavaScript than we had. And that's why hot reloading is good, because if you need to rebuild this amount of JavaScript every time, it gets very annoying. So eventually, after looking at all the progress bars, yes, no, okay, very slow. I'm just going to shut down this guy so that we can just be a bit faster. And emulator says that the Android one that actually saves some state, so it's supposed to launch way faster. You do need to launch manually every time, unfortunately. With Android, it's a limitation of Android. That at least, okay, if you haven't figured out how to launch it automatically. Okay, cool, it works. So they have an example of what storybooks are, and they're not connected to my application yet, but they actually already work, which is nice. Let's collapse all of this. So what they have is the storybook thing here, and they have their own index.js, and I think what they do is when they run the storybook, they yeah, this is really interesting because they do a very different thing. When you have create React Native apps, it works very different. They cannot, like, they need you to modify something, and yeah, that just works here. So nice. So the storybooks are usually in the stories itself, and they're different for iOS and Android. So you can have, and as you can see, it is different controls. For example, this is touchable highlight, and this is touchable native feedback, which is actually, so I might need to show this one. Can I launch this guy, this Android thing somehow without launching the full Android Studio? It would be nice to not launch the whole Android Studio because it's quite a monster. So, guest is in the line after 7 signals. What? I don't know, it's thinking, I think. Because according to this guy, it builds iOS. Yuck. Okay, so I do need to jump soon on another call, but this storybook thing at least works inside the iOS, and in Android you can actually see how it looks different between the devices when it eventually would work. But the storybook is one of the things which will help us. You will see I'll be using it a lot. So the setup is not as complicated. Actually, it's just a lot of downloads, and after that it becomes a bit smoother. It's actually a bit faster if you're using this instead of Create React Native, because with Create React Native, it does a lot of things in the line. It's like all this hidden from you, and here you just build once the iOS, and you kind of don't really rebuild it anymore. You then just use the bundler and push a JavaScript code in there. I don't know why my Android doesn't work anymore. I might need to like restart the device or something. I'm not really good at Android, let's say. But yeah, on iOS it does work, and as you can see, so for example, let's say I want to test my button component, right? So this is the button with some text, and I can go and say, hey, for iOS, and I don't actually need, so this is the convention that you can use. If you name your file .ios or .android, it will use that version of the file, so you don't always need to use select. The platform selector that used another one. So let's say I want to make, I'm just going to change style here. Style color is red, let's say. And I need to make it like this, I think. And if I save it, what? Okay, let's give it this weird error, which I did not expect. Oh yeah, because it's not. This is not the color. The touchable highlight doesn't have the color itself. And it actually, so the nice thing about that, it actually gives you all the like different. And this error, if you cannot see it here, it actually is supposed to show up here, but I think it does not. But we need to run the storybook with some kind. Oh yeah, this guy is now working. Cool. So you will actually have a problem if you try to run it, because that's why I got this error. You notice that error came from Hello Android. Okay. I'm like, it's not responding to my clicks anymore. Come on. Okay. Uh, so with Android and iOS running, because it's using hot reloading, it will keep giving you this error. So you need to choose which one you want to run and which one you're testing at the same time. Maybe if I disable, no, it doesn't have a hot reloading enabled, but when you use storybooks, they have hot reloading enabled automatically, so you don't actually do that, and it will fail on this occasion. So if I save this guy, you see it's giving me the storybook named storybook of this because it's trying to hot reload both of them at the same time. So if I close this guy and then I refresh this again, and let's say I change this to say stop bringing this to stuff. So I'm just gonna put like a text here, text, and I can import the text component. If you haven't done React, it should be very familiar. So yeah, it will keep giving you the errors until eventually it will stop. So now if I modify it and save, yeah, the Android is still kind of there. So yeah, might need to restart the whole bundle. So I keep getting these errors for some time until I practically just went and said disable hot reloading here, and then if I do this, oh yeah, it would let me do that. Okay, let me just find something simple. Yeah, welcome screen. Okay. So here we find certain text, blah blah, text. As you can see, it doesn't reload. And if I refresh, I can see it's reloading, but then I can enable hot reloading. And I think now it's gonna finally work properly. Yeah. So I have this weird thing with hot reloading in two screens, but when you have one screen, it's zero. So this is our setup. We have everything set up now. It is quite easy after you do all the crazy downloads and stuff. And this will give us the practically working application on both iOS and Android. And in the next session, we start looking at the structure of this application and why and how we use the storybook and start. We won't be using storybook as much because we will be just writing primarily a bunch of JavaScript code and just using our storybook just to kick code to just play, but we won't be having any user interface elements. So I'm hoping to have better internet next time and start actually on time. Sorry for delay again. And yeah, so if you have any questions, you can always reach me on Twitter, or I think I have this Twitter. Yeah, you can reach me on Twitter or ask me in the chat next session. So the next session will be 6:30 PDT as it's specified right here on Sunday next week. So thanks for watching. See you.
Oops. Let me just get rid of this image from my other stream. I just realized that the schedule is incorrect again. So at least it's working now, so whatever. But in the schedule, it actually says that I should be streaming. Where was it? Yeah, it's working. So in the schedule, it says I should be streaming 9 o'clock, and that is not correct. So if I have no clue which time zone I am in from this small list of selections. Maybe New York. Yeah, so apparently I'm not here anymore for whatever reason. Oh yeah, that's the one. So I don't know what it is time. 6:30. What is the time in NYC right now? Because I don't know what time is in New York right now, and yeah, that time is not correct here at all. It keeps showing me the wrong time for some reason. Can I actually? Oh, I can actually edit it finally. Okay, they gave me permission. So let me just fix this. So right now time is 9:30 in New York. So that is what the time should be. New York 9:30, and I want to add a new repeat weekly. Save. Which field is required? Intermediate. Uh-huh. And I think it's actually the wrong date. Oh, let's just check that. I didn't know I can edit it. They actually fixed it because before I couldn't even edit it. So this is Tuesday the 8th. I want to see Sunday the 6th, I guess. Here we go. So this is 9:30 p.m. now on Sunday, which is right about now. So if I go to schedule to live streams, I guess, and it should properly show my. I don't know what time zone is this in. Like this is 9 o'clock. That makes no sense because it's 9:30 there. So anyway, beside this whole hiatus with the thing, I found a way to first fix my laptop so I can stream, and second, find the actual place where I can stream. So let's see if this all of this works. So here it works. I'm just gonna tweet it quickly. Okay, I don't know. Streaming, mobile, activity, app creation. Yeah, whatever. Right now, ping. I have already sent it. Okay, cool. So streaming is going. I'm just gonna open the chat quickly so I can actually see what's going on there in the chat. And yeah, that's not correct. Next stream date is not this date. It's yeah. I'm not gonna even try to UTC, right? So 1:30. So I have this tool which allows you to convert to all the time zones because otherwise it's just crazy. So UTC 1:30. Yeah, okay, that is correct. 1:30 a.m. UTC. But I'm not sure why is it helpful. Oh, okay. Cool. So so what we were looking at last time. Last time my computer crashed, so I didn't actually show you anything. I probably should delete this session too. So this is the proper session too, I guess. So what I wanted to do is slightly change the thing, and this is actually what we're gonna build. So I'm gonna put this link in. Let me open my Finder, I think. So I was thinking about one thing is should I prepare for the stream or not? And I find that when I do prepare for the stream, it kind of becomes a bit fake, I guess, because it's not really how like you don't see all the struggle of like stupid setup, you know. So so I think I do research, but outside of coding, there will be no preparation, so that you can see actually all the situations that I come to. So this is our session 2, which I think this is session 3, if I'm not mistaken. Which is actually session 2 because on session 2 we spent way too much time doing, like, I couldn't do anything, so so I'm just gonna go and do it again, I guess. But because it's a new session, we're just gonna call it session 3. YouTube. Yeah, this thing, no, silent and live streaming. Mobile app. Okay, so what I wanted to do is actually let me just copy this session. Yeah, yes, I remember what I did. I did git clone session 2 to session 3. So now we have session 3. I'm kind of hacking it this way. And here what I can do now is my other workshop. No, don't save. Okay, so I'm just gonna add it to the. I had some file somewhere where. Oh yeah, it was gist. Trying to find it and couldn't find it. So this guy, which is called session 1 confusingly. So what we do instead is this session 3 MD, and this link I believe is in description for this gist. If it's not there, let me know in the chat. I'll add it there again. I think because the timing all screwed up, I wouldn't expect anyone to join. But if you're watching this in the recording, tweet to me and I'll add the link. Okay, so and designs for the app. I'm just gonna add this, okay, and that's practically it for now. So this is the app designs, and you can see them right here. So it's not me, it's some Z1, I guess, whoever. She works for Facebook apparently now. She's from Carnegie Mellon, and she does this project, and one of them was this interesting to-do manager that she did, and I find that partially what she's doing here is quite interesting, and I think it would be interesting to. So it's simple at one stage because it's just a to-do, but she takes quite a few interesting UX choices there. So I think it would be interesting to develop it because this is non-trivial iOS app, and most of the stuff here is actually iOS. I'll do the same for Android, but her design is for iOS, so I'm not entirely sure it's going to work for Android the same way. So she did a lot of things here, like here's the whole user journey here actually mapped out, which is pretty cool. Fine. So what we're gonna start is I didn't have Storybook set up, I believe, here. So I'm just gonna run the Storybook. No, don't scan. Hopefully it works. Yes, npm. I'm actually using Yarn here, but let's see if Yarn works for me now. Actually, I might want to do Brew upgrade Yarn. Did I install it for Brew? I think because my Yarn has been very, very slow recently. So I'm thinking maybe if I just update it, it's gonna be better. Let me just make this a bit lower. Seems like I'm staring on it in the skies. What's going on? Blah 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 blah. Okay, so this is the latest Yarn, and you'll see what happens if I run Yarn. Now it's gonna fetch the packages. This is the slow part just because it needs to get the information from the internet, but that's not the slow part of Yarn. The slow part of Yarn is okay. The engine node is incompatible. Where is it coming from? Okay. Which version? UPath? I don't really know what it is, so okay, I'm just gonna switch to NPM. I would have tried to figure out what the problem is, but honestly, I stopped using Yarn because it's becoming like it gives me this really weird errors now. Ah, it's because I'm updated to Node 10, I think. Maybe Yarn actually checks that, and NPM might not. Anyway, it's actually called session 3, but let's not place this for now, it doesn't matter. I don't want to break anything. Okay. So as NPM done its thing, and now I should be able to do NPM run storybook. And I think um, simulator. I had this npm run simulator iOS. Because I keep waiting, how do I execute this guy? Okay, so this is iPad, which works too, I guess. It's thinking. As you can see, my computer went a bit crazy for a second or two. Go back, go back. Okay, so this launch simulator thing is insane. Like, takes a lot of CPU. Go back. Simulator thingy. I don't know what is simulating there, but yes, seems like it's calming down now. Okay. So this one does not have the thing installed, and I think I would need to do npm start instead, because I don't remember why did I install it. This will launch the right simulator, I think. Actually, no, React Native run iOS, I think. Here we go. This will install it. I'm not sure to this one or to the one. Another one. Oh, okay, iPhone 6, that's what it's using. Can I close this somehow? There's no like close window. Okay, here we go. Boom. I know there's a way to configure here this guy. So when you do run iOS, you can actually tell the device to run. It's gonna do all this jazz and launch simulator, and that's why it's crashed last time, because it's doing two of those things and plus streaming, so it's going a bit crazy on the CPU. Okay, not very exciting part. Building. So what I want to do is take these screens and start building the components in them one by one. So you can actually see the process of. And those components for now, they're just gonna do something, yeah. But we're gonna skip some of this functionality. For example, she has this different parts of like add a task by voice, and that's a cool feature, but I think I would rather not do this in the beginning and just have a task edit. Okay, what's going on there? It's still building. I think our op should be here already somewhere. Oh yeah, it's this one, I believe. Oops. It's not there yet. This whole thing is really slow when you're rebuilding it. So one of the things that I while this just is happening, um, one of the interesting things. So this is quite simple. So we're just gonna start with this one, and it seems like when the transition here is not really clear because it says, okay, click add, and then we need to pick the date, I guess, where you're inserting it, and then it will pop up with this thing, and she actually has an animation somewhere here. So if we, oh yeah, so there is animation available with Vimeo, which is blocked in Indonesia, so I need to put VPN. Hopefully it doesn't jeopardize the stream. It's just Storybook. And the reason is simple. Storybook is designed to test components by itself. So this transition that she has here, it's not really this component. It's like this component sliding out, so you click on it, and that thing goes down there. Actually, we can just make like you click on it, and then this pop appears. So it's a transition plus sliding to a different screen. As you can see, it's like boom. So it moves from one component to another, and then this pops in. As you can see here, it's actually quite visible here. So this transition part is quite interesting, and I'm kind of curious how to test this with storybooks, because it's kind of in between. It doesn't really fit in the storybook. I guess I can do a storybook which just does this transition and whatever the thing appears. So we pass the what to do there as the next element. So after we like press on this tool. So let's start with this first screen. It's pretty simple. No, I'm fine. Just needed to access Vimeo. Okay, so we get welcome to React Native. Great. Very exciting. And now we should be able to do shut down this, and this will crash the simulator. And now I'll do npm run storybook instead. And eventually, oh, this is already loading. This is quite fast. Quite fast, I meant. Not really. This progress bar always like confuses me because it keeps increasing on both sides. So you don't know, is it gonna ever stop increasing, and this like an ongoing percentage forever. Okay, so this is our storybook. Nothing exciting here yet. But what we can do here is we can start with our first story, and I like to do it in this way. So if I put src here, oops, not in the storybook, and then inside src I'll put name of the feature. So I don't know what is this thing you call landing page, I guess. So I'm just gonna start with home, I guess. And now I'm just gonna put a story there. So home.story.js. We haven't done JS for a while. And this file is where they import all the story. Well, not this file. Is it this file? This file. Wrong file. So here they have this crazy button. No, that's the stories themselves. There was a file where they. Oh yeah, that's one. So there's this crazy require here, kind of. I don't know what you call it. They call configure, and then they. Where was it again? Really? Storybook.js, here we go. So they call configure, and then they import the stories, and the stories is the syntax file, which works great if you only have those stories, right? If not, then it kind of doesn't work. So that's why here I'm just going to change it from stories to home, to bin src home story, and this will crash most likely because there's nothing here yet, right? So if we look at this index.js, I can just copy this and get rid of stuff that I don't need. So import React, text, ton of storybook stuff. Do I have ESLint installed? I just noticing that there is no like run ESLint. I actually find this new tool called Neutrino, which is pretty cool. What it does, it wraps all these packages together. So if you need, for example, Jest and so you're doing Jest and linter together, it will just combine them into one. Let me show you. It kind of sounds weird when I try to explain it. So if I stash these changes, okay, oh, I didn't stash pop. Let me just add package look and remove RAM package. Oh, yarn. It add package lock. Switch to npm. Then I don't know what does VS Code want. Update VS tasks. Diff. What is it? Package JSON changes. Prettier. Okay, so this changes, and we're gonna git add them and git check out. Oh, stash them for now. So this will remove the changes, and now I want to do git npx neutrino. I guess I should be able to say something like. Actually, let's do it. Npm install hd neutrino chest neutrino Babel lint. Yes, lint. Oh, I think actually this is the name of the packages now. I would need to double check what's the package names. Is it Neutrino.js, I think? Yep. This might be lint, not ESLint, I think. No? Okay, here we go. I guessed it right. So what it will actually do, it won't just install those two things, which is what you do. Like I can install Jest and ESLint, right? That's pretty easy. It installs the Webpack configuration for them. And what it means is that, for example, my Jest configuration, so we'll see when I run Jest, now it will connect linter there automatically. And I think when I do lint, I still need to create, let me just check. Neutrino. I did find one thing that I was kind of, with this whole schedule thing, I was kind of too stressed about the schedule they put there, so I'm just going to ignore that schedule thing. So this is Neutrino ESLint. La 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 la. CLI. So we can run ESLint lint. Okay, here we go. This avoids needing to install another create name. So I should be able to do this. Yeah, I need to install a Neutrino itself. Doesn't automatically install. So it looks like you can still use ESLint. Oh, nice. That is cool. So we can create ESLinters, I guess. Oh, misspelled. And then should be able to do this. So Neutrino will not work without .neutrino rc.js, which then just need to specify where's the configuration. .neutrino. Yeah, here we go. This guy. Plugins, middleware, presets. Here we go. Module.exports equals, I was trying to find this example, use, and now we can just say here, oops. So this is not package.json, this is just configures Neutrino itself. Neutrino just Neutrino ESLint. Okay, so now should be able to actually do npm run Neutrino lint. And yes, npm, thanks. I'm just gonna run npx. Yeah, that's primarily how kind of what Yarn is not really needed anymore, because like npx does most of what Yarn did before. So one of the interesting things that it does, I don't know what this watchman config is that it will detect that using Jest and ESLint together, and it will apply all the rules that you need for both, and including them here. Do I have my ESLint stub? To use ESLint, please install. Oh yes, oops. So npm i-d ESLint. So I do need to install dependency on ESLint because otherwise the linter doesn't detect it, and then I need to restart the VS Code after that. I don't want to do ESLint. Oh. Yep. Restart. Start again. Now I should have a linter there. Hopefully. File to load ESLint for the document. You use please install ESLint. Yeah, it's installed. No ESLint configuration. There is a ESLint configuration. It's this guy. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, okay. I actually want to do something like this, I think. If you will, with this specific quite remove the link command. Linting or file link with the data. So is there a thing like a Slender.c.js? Slender.c.js. Here we go. Now it searches for it. Yeah, so it can be in format of ASC or ASLint config file package JSON. So why the heck this thing doesn't see my configuration file? Does it not support configuration file via the... So this ASLint library is loaded. I think this guy only supports the JSON one. That's shame. Package manager, ASLint options. Okay, so I can do this. I can create an ASLint and maybe I can set so create is here we go. Okay, so we'll create this file, and what I want to do now is I want to take all of this, throw it away, and say that I want to specify here where was example. I'm just looking at it. An example was this setting, ESLint options, and here we will specify config file, for example, and the config is, I don't know, can I do .eslint? Let's see. Oh, maybe that's why the problem, that why I have a problem there. So we just get rid of this. I forgot the dot there. I just noticed that they started like look different, and hopefully that works now. ESLint. Oh yes, here we go. Now it's working, I think. So that actually does quite interestingly. Should it work? ESLint loaded, it says. Okay, so the easy way to check is to put like this guy here. Oh wait, that was prettier. The easy way to check, I guess, is to use some kind of variable which is not defined. Blah blah. Console build log. And that's not working. It says it's loaded, so I'm not sure why it's like what's going on now. Is it working? It's not working. Enable. clock. Again, that was pretty sure. I don't think it works. It almost feels like it doesn't work. It does tell me this, but then it kind of tells that it's loaded. Usually when the ESLint is working, you see it kind of here. So whatever. So I'm just gonna like add all of this and figure it out later, I guess. And ESLint, Trino, and packages. And Neutrino with config. Okay, so ignoring this part for now, what I want to do is I want to run this storybook, and instead of doing this, I'm gonna import home from home here. So we actually get to stories of home, and I don't know that this get story thing. That's cool. Oh wow, that's nice. That's really nice. So this is new syntax actually, which allows us to add a decorator. So I'm just commenting out this for now, but what we want is with default view, and I'm just gonna chunk home there. As soon as I save this, you're gonna see that. Oh yeah, storybook is not running. In the simulator now, we should be able to see that guy. So, oh, I need to pop the stash back. Okay, whatever. I'm just gonna change it again here. SRC home story. Enable to resolve home. That is correct because I don't have a home.js yet. So I'm just gonna create home.js, and for now I just do export. So if I do function home props and export return h1 home. Import React. Where there was import. Where's the React one? Okay, here we go. I actually find I was watching the thing, and I found this when you do this, it makes it a bit easier because then switching between them is way easier. So when you want to switch and you like, let's say, even so you're not using state here, it's not necessarily makes it like React doesn't really care what you give to it, so it doesn't have a specific thing. If you just don't use state here, it's the same. And if you want to be very specific here, you can actually say pure component. Oh my god, there's not a complete anymore. Like, this is horrible. Oops. The stories of come from stories from Storybook. This is like, I really like ESLint for not ESLint, TypeScript for that. The TypeScript actually gives you all of this. So you can say just hover over stories of, and it tells you like, hey, did you mean to import this from Storybook? So yeah, I don't even know. Is this correct? Like, is this correct? Maybe it is correct. ESLint, if I did run lint. So this guy says that lint is okay. Enable to resolve module storybook. I'm just gonna look at bottom story. It's not this one. Damn, where it was home.story. That's the right import. Okay, so element type is invalid, expected the string, check the render method of the story view. What? So, oops. Index in the storybook. It keeps giving me the wrong index here. Here we go. Yeah. But usually they wrap this like this, just so that you can put multiple things down. Story self add ta 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 ta. Huh? Oh yes. So this is one of the things that I find, and I have not tried Flow to be honest. Maybe I'll try. What is this? Flow adds flow static type checker. Can Flow do this better? Search for Flow in VS Code. Make sure you have Flow config. Because I've tried TypeScript, and TypeScript is really good for that. But so it means we need to disable the TS TypeScript. Whoa, that's crazy, dude. Okay, so I guess we need to install Flow. Install there's the Flow. Yeah, so I cannot restart this until it finishes. And then, because this kind of errors, they really need to be caught by something else, because like TypeScript catches this error. Yeah, it did install Flow. Oh, Flow bin. Wrong thing. Oh, it actually insists that I've installed it globally. Okay. I just want to see if it's gonna give me this error, so not to be honest. Oops. Oh, hi Mahazu. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in chat. I think I can see it now. So, still thinking about life. So Flow. Oh, there is actually Flow config there, not mine. That's I think the one created automatically by. Why there's no Flow anything there? It's just okay. So you do Flow, make sure you have Flow config, okay. Make sure you be able to run Flow. Yes. Oh, okay. So let's just go to Flow config, change the version so it doesn't complain. Oh, fancy, what is this? I never used Flow before, so. Whoa! Okay, so did it give us any errors? But why don't I see the errors here? Maybe I need to restart again? This flow thing doesn't really give me anything, any like validations or anything. Make sure you can run flow, okay. Set JavaScript validate enable to false, completely disable built-in TypeScript extension. Yeah, but why doesn't it give me an error here? Flow home any. So here we go, flow. Like I want an error here, and I don't see an error here, which I find a bit odd. So if I put, so for example, here TS check, TypeScript won't be able to check it because this is not a TypeScript file. But if I put the TS check here, I think will it be able to? I haven't tried without using the actual proper TypeScript files. Nah, I don't think so. Yeah, so this is one of the most annoying things, and the errors like React gives you like this one. It's just like, what the heck is this error? So let me run the storybook again and do the export default home. Oh yeah, sorry, this is not HTML. And we need to put text here. Okay, so if we're just using text, we don't actually need. Hello? And we need to import text from React Native. Okay, so now we have this home thing, right? And we can actually start styling it a bit. There's the design. So there's this header part here, which is very unique, I guess. Did she put somewhere the actual screenshot? Because I want to like grab the screenshot of the first screen. Here we go. Yeah, guess download is fine. Ah, shit. Okay. Peak, color. I had this color picker thing. I think it's this one. Here we go. So this should have copied, I believe, the colors. I don't want the RGB, I want... Okay, so the RGB is fine. I think it copies them. Let me just check. No, it didn't copy them. This guy is kind of useless now. Copy color as text. But okay, so I need to press Ctrl Shift C. Okay, here we go. That's our RGB, which I would hope I can convert to hex. Here we go. So, what was it? It was 250. No, that's not dark, is it? Okay, it's all dark. Whatever. So, here we can start with import. Home CSS, I guess. And I don't think this guy actually supports CSS modules right off the bat, so I'm just need to new file, relative to current view, home.css. And let's just say this is the background, and the background will have, I guess, background color of all dark. So check the storybook. What? Yeah, the home CSS is here. Oh yes, I've used to using CSS modules for this. So we're not using CSS modules here, which means we kind of forced to do something like this. So let's say I have a view here. So usually you would have like a styles guy here, styles.js, and then import as styles, I mean Node.js, and then we rename this guy to styles.js, and this needs to become JavaScript now. So this is the background, which is the background color of const. There we go. As you see, we lost the fancy filling. 6 of them. Yeah, it doesn't seem like 6. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay. So now we can say here that we have a view and a view and from and styles on this guy. Style on this guy is a styles.background. That did not reload properly. Can't find variable view. Yes, I forgot to import it. Okay, so as you can see, it's not very exciting because its height is 100 view height. Can I use view height? I'm just going to do 100%, I guess. Well, it wants us to do like this often. Invalid property, valid display, width, height, GHT. Oh, oops. Common mistake I made. QAG. That's not change here anymore. GT. Hide. Okay. So it wants percentage. I'm just going to put percentage now. So now, okay, now it's all 100%, which is what we want. Smith. All warnings are gone. Okay. That's very exciting because it's just dark now. But what we can do is, this seriously doesn't look dark for me, but so now we need a header, and there's some padding here, which we'll figure it out somehow. So I'm just gonna put it all here for now. View, and this is our header style, styles, header, and I'm gonna add the header here. So this is flex direction of column. Whoops. And there's nothing there yet, right? So we actually need to put something inside. So what does it say though? Okay, so it says it's text. And we need the symbol. Okay, and then the date. So I'm just gonna put the date directly for now. So this is what 7th of May, 7 May 2019. Wait, 2018. Too fast. Great, cannot see it, so we need to change the color of what is this thing called? Like, I don't know, subheader. And this is the current date. I'm just gonna call it date, because this is specific to this one. Cast subheader, export cast, date, and so we want the color to be white, and this guy to be color gray. It's common error. I put style, not styles. Okay, so the font size seems to be a bit off, and that's where the tricky part comes, because you kind of need to figure out what's this font size here. I think can I use EM here or something? That's probably a little bit crazy big. Okay, so it needs number, I think. Let's see if I put them side by side. A bit bigger, I think. Maybe like 40. Somewhere in between. So that's like guessing, especially when you're working off someone's designs. So we want this guy to be in the center. Oh, it's not in the center actually. We wanted to have a bit of padding on the right. And because this is JavaScript, you need to use, this looks like, I don't know, 10 pixels. Like, this is where the guessing game comes. What? Might be margin. Oh yeah, so we probably want the padding inside the header. Flexbox. Why don't they see the padding? So in case you didn't know, you can actually inspect things here, which is pretty interesting. Why there's no padding? So I wanted the padding on the view, which I guess I just put padding here on the. I think I had this problem before. Can I change this? No, I cannot change this. Disable type of inspector. Okay, so if I put margin on this guy. Oh, okay. What about margin on this guy? The padding on this guy doesn't work, but margin on the subheader works. Maybe if I do this. Oh, the heck. Okay, here we go. It's really persistent on not being able to, because the problem is this margin here. Of that. Oh, we need to copy it here too. That's what I want to do. If I do it here, this one is getting ignored. So, oh yeah, that's why. And it didn't give me an error or anything. It's just like ta 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 ta. Like it's just gonna not work at all. Running 20. Here we go. I think it's working now. Yep. So I'm gonna hit padding left on there just to make sure. Yep. And we need some top padding too there. Looks like quite a lot actually. I don't know, looks like 50 or something. Maybe even 100. Okay, I would literally need to like have them side by side like this. And that's where the screen starts, right? So you can roughly then this is definitely not the same color. This is not black. Oh. Color meter. Yeah, this is not black. 3841. But why does it copy it like this? Oh. Color. I have a color picker on this guy, I think. Eyedropper. Here we go. Yeah, that's how it's done. Now we have the same color. Here we go. Now that makes sense. And the preview. A bit bigger, I think. It needs to be like 40. Okay, cool. So we're actually getting around out of time, but this is, I guess, an example of how you can start styling things. And I'm gonna change the layout a bit because I don't want to like rush. I don't know how long it's gonna take realistically, and all this like planning what the session is gonna look like. It's really kind of, I feel very fake because in a real project, if you knew exactly, if you can estimate by every like hour what you're gonna be working on, and you're not gonna get stuck on anything. How I was stuck on freaking ESLint for a while, that would be great in theory, but in the practice, I don't think it works like this. So this is more practical than a theoretical stream. I'm gonna shut it down then, and hopefully next time the schedule will be correct and I actually get some people joining in. Thanks for watching if you're watching in the replay, and yeah, we'll continue from here.